Hello, YouTube. This is my third installment on my unemployment journey. So, I had 2 interviews last week, which was very exciting. One was a second interview, and it was in person. The first was on Zoom. And the other interview I had this week was like a Microsoft Teams meeting, I guess. So, like Zoom, but maybe not Zoom. Anyway, um, I feel I feel so much more comfortable job hunting and interviewing, especially after getting those 3 interviews. Well, 4 if you count. There was an interview I did way back that was by phone, and it was very spontaneous. Like, they contacted me first. They didn't even say, let's schedule an interview. They said, hey, can you talk for a minute? It was like, boom, you're in an interview. So that was fun. I but when I did my first thing, I was talking about I loathe job hunting. I hate interviewing, and I'm not as afraid of it anymore. I found a really good book that I read through pretty much to my satisfaction. I didn't do every single exercise in the book, but I focused on the things that I felt like I need to work on. So I feel a lot more comfortable, so I'm not nearly as stressed. That being said, I've been doing a lot of things because I'm so far into the pipeline. There's one place that's doing a background check on me. I'm a final candidate. Don't know if I'll get it or not. Hope I do. Love to work there. But trying to think of future me being at work after being at home for 2 years in leggings and t-shirts. So I have had some weight fluctuations up and down, and I feel like I know what my set point size is. So I've been working on building a capsule wardrobe, which, because I'm plus size, that meant trips to Lane Bryant to fill in some core pieces that I was not finding when I was out thrifting. I bought, I'm really short, let's just say that. So if I buy capri pants, they're actually ankle length for me, which is perfect. And then I don't have to cut 4 inches off the leggings, off the end of the pant legs in order for things to fit, which saves a lot of time. So I managed to find a line of capri pants at Lane Bryant, and I bought several pair of them. What I should have done was buy 1 pair, keep the others with the tags on, just in case. Go ahead and wash that pair and find out that they hold wrinkles like crazy. And they're synthetic, so you can't really iron them. And I like ironing over steaming, but it was a good thing. I've invested in a steamer. I'm not going to worry about putting distilled water in it because I can't hardly find distilled water in the pandemic. It's like one other thing to lug home, and I do so much ironing. I have so much linen. I'm just gonna clean the steamer out with vinegar on occasion just to even out the playing field. So I have been putting off steaming these pants because there's this little thing in my head thinking, what if steam doesn't work? Then you're up a creek. Then you're gonna have to risk putting the iron on a higher setting on synthetics and risk meltage. And are these pants even worth it? So that's kind of where I'm at right now. That is on my to-do list. But with the interviews I had this week and the pet drama and feral cat drama, which is another story I'll get to here in a second, I just tried to pull all that aside and just stick to the essentials that were in front of me this week. So let's see. I have 2 cats that are indoor cats that I've had for over 10 years now. I got them, one of them was a kitten and one of them was 2 years old when I got them. And they're still fine. They're doing good. But I had an outdoor colony I was caring for, and there was a lot of loss because there's dogs that are roaming in the neighborhood. people speeding down the street. I had 2 cats run over in a 24-hour period from the feral cat colony once. That was super upsetting. And so I started working to trap and neuter and release, TNR. And I got the mother cat, who was the only female in the colony at that point. I felt like that was an excellent time. And one of her boys, which is Fluffernutter, the orange. He's the sole survivor of her last litter. The others either disappeared or got run over. And there is one other cat that's a black and white, and I call him Pretty Boy. And when Mama Cat had her most recent litter, she kind of ran him off. So he's kind of sometimes showing up, but I think he's got like a patrol he does. And he's become skittish and more feral. So what happened was, it's been about 2 weeks now. Mama Cat just disappeared. She was being gone for a couple days here and there, and then she just didn't show up one day. And my theory is that she found someplace inside to be. Somebody else took her in because she was staying fat. She'd be gone for 2 days, show up looking like she was living large, clean, healthy coat, well fed, not starving. So I think that she found a benefactor, which is great because that's ultimately what I want. She's got a microchip in it. I haven't had any reports to it. I updated the information on her microchip saying, call me if you decided to take her in so that I know she's okay. I just need to check back on occasion and see if anything happened. So that left Fluffernutter, which is this little orange long hair, not a Persian, but just a long hair cat, almost kind of Maine Cooney. A couple of his siblings, before they got run over, were black with a gray mane, and they were gorgeous, and it just broke my heart that they got tagged by cars. So him being alone, I was really worried about him. And then he started acting like he couldn't eat, like it was awkward to eat, and he wasn't grooming himself, and he started drooling, and I looked up stuff and it said it might have dental problems. So I took him to the vet. He was not happy. I took him to the vet. They had, because he was feral enough, because he was real swatty, they had to sedate him. And they said that he had licked something base that had caused ulcers on his tongue. So he got into something, and I don't know what, because he's out there in the world, and he had like the whole block he pretty much stayed on, our half of the block. So I don't know what he got into. I mean, in the past, he's shown up with oil drips on him, like he's been under vehicles, and then I would try to clean it out as best I could, and or at least brush it out as much as I could. So he had fleas, and he needed brushing bad because he's such long hair, his coat quickly got messed up. And I would try to brush him a little bit, but he was in such discomfort, and it was so hard for him to eat. I just took him to the vet. So they said, do you know how this happened? And I'm like, I don't know. He's out. He's under cars. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he got into something. I said, test him for feline leukemia. Test him for all the things. Let's see how healthy he is in general. That came back negative. So I said, let's treat this. So he gave him a shot for pain. And he said that these things can kind of heal up on their own in a few days. And so I said, well, let's go ahead and get all his vaccinations updated. He tested negative for worms. He tested negative for heartworms. He tested negative for feline leukemia and feline AIDS. So it's like, you bring him in now before he catches something. And was the thought in my head. So I had them do all the things. And it was over $400, which is like a big on my finances. I have emergencies budgeted. Well, there's the emergency. Let's not have any more. And let's get a job secured. So I don't want to run through all of the savings I had set aside for my job hunting time. I have reserves aside from that, but this was like my stash. So I'm on a very conservative budget now. No more fun for me. he was only at the vet for the day, and then I brought him home at the end of the day. So they were like in and out. So worth every penny. But I had a dining room table that was covered with stacks of books this high, like 2 foot stacks and stacks and stacks of books on this table here. And whenever I got them fixed, I made a double kennel where I took 2 large kennels and I took the side doors, or the doors on the long side, off and put them together. So it was like a 2-room cat condo, and just twist tied them together. So one side has the litter box, the other side has bedding, there's food and water dishes, enough room for them to stretch out. So we've gotten in a routine where, oh, he's almost asleep. That's good. I'm doing this in this room so that he is near me and hears my voice talking. I have been brushing him like 3 times a day, and every time I brush him, I get another little burr out of his coat. And he's got a couple of mats under his arms, under his limbs, that I'm working out, and so I've made really good progress. He looks 1,000 times better. They gave him Revolution. I had been using Advantage 2 on my indoor cats and occasionally getting the outdoor cats in high flea season. This dry spell that we've had, the fleas just finally exploded. They were being drowned. We had so much rain the past years that it was easy enough to control fleas when you have like all these torrential downpours, because they just get drowned out in the soil out there. So all the eggs and everything. So anyway, he's inside. He's been here. Was it Tuesday or Wednesday? It was Tuesday that I took him to the vet, because I took him in the morning. I said, I have an interview at 2:30, so you're not going to see me for an hour. You call me before or call me after. I can pick him up after. So Tuesday afternoon, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So he's been 5 days where he's been in this thing, poor thing. In the first few days, he was still... They gave him the shot, and he didn't drool while the pain meds were in full effect. So I'm assuming that it didn't cause that reaction. And then after the meds wore off, he kind of drooled a little bit for a day or so. And he would eat, but I would have to take the can. I used Fancy Feast pate, and I made it into this like triangle, like this little triangle of food, so that he could just take his little jaws and go, instead of, so he didn't have to use his tongue. He could just kind of grab it and swallow it. So he would eat it. He would eat the whole can at once. And toward the end, he would start growling because his tongue would start bothering him. But he's eating. He's eating, and I'm giving him super moist food. He's not drinking water really, but I checked his poo, and it looks okay. He's not struggling. He's pooing regularly. He's peeing regularly, as far as I can tell. He has good energy. Kind of a split personality. Like, sometimes he forgets that I'm not the vet, and he's like growling at me. And then other times it's like, hey, you're my friend, So he's getting, I think as he gets in less pain, he's getting more friendly. So I've taken, and I've rolled a chair over here, and I'm reading to him. And then I'm taking him out and brushing him 3 times a day. But he hasn't had a chance to run free yet, because this house is not really set up to have separate areas. And I do not want him getting lost in the labyrinth of my cluttered house. If he gets under something, who knows when I'll get him out. And I don't know. I've got to find him a rescue. I've got to find him. I've inquired at one place. And I told them, I said, I think he needs socializing, but actually he's doing okay with me, but this is very controlled circumstances. And he was always scared of other people. So I think I might be the only person he's really used to. And even me, he freaks out a little, but I want him to have a place where he has like some space of his own, and he can run around and interact and play and not be stuck in a cage, because this sucks for him. I thought about, I'm so afraid of him like re-stressing if he leaves the security of the cage. He needs to exercise and move, but he's been through a lot of stress, and I want to see him have a slightly more comfort level with me before I expand his horizons. And he's like, I'm in the open, oh my god. So anyway, that is longer than I wanted to take, but basically my whole life has been upended, or else I would have posted sooner. It's been a very busy 2 weeks, because the week before the interviews, I was reading everything I could, and I was shopping, I was getting clothes, because I wanted to be ready to hit the ground running if I had a job that was not business casual. Because some of the positions I'm applying for are going to require better dress than the last job I had before I even went remote. So, got my hair cut. I'm sitting here playing with my hair unconsciously because I can feel it. But I had like that much cut off, mostly off the back and the bottom. I'm letting my bangs grow out. So, and all of the stress has caused a huge acne breakout. I had to wear makeup twice, and every time I wear makeup, I break out. It's just I've not found a brand that's not allergic. I've not found. I'm postmenopausal, so for some reason my body decided that means that I'm gonna have teenage acne again. Whatever happened with the change of life, it basically reverted me to ninth grade acne. So this is my life once a month. And if I have a stress flare, so I'm just totally, I'm used to it because I see me all the time. But I know that all the other women out there are putting concealer on, and they're putting pancake makeup on, and I probably have the worst acne in the room. And that is just my life. I think this will be less worse when I'm less stressed. A lot of people say they don't really notice that much. I think they're just being very polite. You're very sweet people for lying, but you ain't fooling me and I ain't fooling you. So anyway, that wasn't the tangent I wanted to take, but that's the tangent we went down. Okay, so this, I hope, my little bear, I hope the little guy has a place to be in a week or two, at the most. I would hate for him to, like, be stuck in this cage forever. If I can get that cleared out, and I don't know if I'll be starting a job or not. I don't know if I'll hear back from this one place or the other place, but the interview next week is in another department of the same company. Well, organization. This is the time of year where they hire a lot of a certain type of staff. So I've actually applied to 4 departments for essentially the same position. So this is the second department I've heard back from. The other Zoom interview was for a different field, but it involves a lot of data entry and a lot of tracking records with a lot of detail, which is in my wheelhouse. It's something I feel like I could be good at. A little worried about the productivity issues, not sure how well I would perform, because a lot of my work was not speed related so much. I mean, there were projects that had a deadline. You just put all your eggs in that basket until everything got done. But this is like a real grind of a job. So, not sure how I would do. I would either sink or swim. And I could see that wearing down because there might not be a lot of deep thought involved in it, not a lot of analysis. I don't know. So kind of hoping these other ones come out. And I told them, I said, listen, I'm in the pipeline for this one, and there's other positions that are similar that I posted for, so I'm not sure how they do it. I don't know if they wait till you're a no for one and then they send you to the other department to have a crack at it, or I'm not sure if it's first come, first serve, or, FIFO, whatever. Anyway, so I'm just kind of waiting on that, and I'm just trying to take care of everything I can in the meantime. So So I talked about my haircut. I talked about my wardrobe. And yeah, it actually took a couple weeks to get everything I ordered online in, and a couple items were not available. So I don't have quite the wardrobe I was hoping for, but there are workarounds for that I can do later on. And I basically have a bunch of button-down shirts and a bunch of pants that all mix and match and coordinate together. I can throw cardigans over them in the winter. I can throw vests over them. I can do other tops with all of the pants. I have a lot of nice summer linen tops. Thank you TJ Maxx. Thank you TJ Maxx and Marshalls for having all of the Tahari linens. I'm going to be ironing for days. I basically make myself iron 2 items a day to go through this pile of incoming linens that I've picked up. In a perfect world, I would wear linen all summer, even if it needs ironing. And I actually like ironing, so not a big deal. I usually run some YouTube videos or podcasts while I'm ironing, and it's just very meditative for me. I want to go somewhere like Joann's and get one of those quilter detail irons where it's just this little bitty triangle of metal that heats up, but you can't really steam with that. But just something to do like little details. I'm sure there's specialty irons out there I could get, and that's something that I'll deal with it as it comes across my horizon. There will be opportunities to snag these things. So there is an event. My neighborhood and the neighborhood next to me are doing what's called a Porch Hop event, where they have people who want to do like a little micro party on their porch, and they might have refreshments or snacks or activities or all of them. Maybe some alcoholic, some not alcoholic, depends on the theme. Some are vegan, some are not vegan. And so hosts sign up and say, this is what I want to do. This is our theme. And then on the event page, the Facebook event on the group, they have an event, and they'll put like a little flyer saying what their event is and what they have. And then the week before the event, I guess, or so, they post a map to everyone who's interested. And so there's like a 2-part thing. There's like the individual porch parties are for 3 hours. And then after that, there's like a block party in a central location. So, I checked with all the neighbors on my half of the block, like all the people who were like spitting distance from me. I have other neighbors, but they're very senior, or they're working crazy hours. So, I did not offer to include them because I already know the answer. And, but I did tell a couple of them, I said, hey, there's going to be this event thing. And if we do it, we'll give you the time. And if you're off work, come over and get a snack and a drink and hang out and say hi. But I've got one neighbor that she wanted to visit all the other parties and not host. And then I've got another place that has 2 girls that just moved in that are sisters, and they kind of wanted to do it, but they kind of got busy because they just moved out of their old place and they're trying to clean all that up. So they really don't have time to like plan in a proactive manner. And then another girl who had a place, she's got a new place, and it's all nice and new and everything, and nothing's overgrown. She doesn't have like the shrubbery monsters I have to deal with. And she doesn't have cats hanging out on her porch. Well, I don't anymore either, but she was like, I really, I've got a place, but I don't have money or decorations, because she just moved here. So I said, I'm a shopaholic. Don't worry. I've got stuff. I've got decorations. I've got food ideas. If you let your porch be the landing spot, I can put up a canopy. I've got tables. I've got just about everything we can need. So let's if you're game, I can provide. So, and I told her, I said, do you have any ideas? I said, I've been thinking about ideas for this. And I said, the only thing I can think of is La Dolce Vita, because I'm Italian, so I know Italian stuff. I can pull Italian out of my butt. Anyway, so I've been looking up hors d'oeuvres, and I know it's going to be hot the day of the event, because we're already getting, we're just almost touching summer, and we're starting to get highs in the 90s on some days, certainly highs in the 80s. This will be at the peak temperature time of the day, so it's going to be hot. So I thought, what can I do that's cold, that's not complicated? So Granita. Granita is basically a slushy. It's like fruit juice or fruit puree, depending on who you talk to. Maybe a little sweetener, like a simple syrup. And depending on, like, if it's like a berry, you might put a pop of citrus in it. You can, but you put it in a shallow pan. You mix everything up. You make your simple syrup, then you mix it up, and you put it in a shallow pan, and then every once in a while you scrape it to where there's these big flakes, and you scrape it all to the center, you put it back in, let it freeze some more. And as it freezes, you let it be a very granular freeze, not like smooth and velvety like gelato with really tiny ice crystals. You're looking for icy flakes, more like a slushy. So, or more like a snow cone almost. So there are some that are like almond milk based and nut milk based, but I decided, and there's coffee ones. So I have a test batch of coffee Granita, and it's basically like almost like the bottled frappuccinos that you can get, the Starbucks frappuccinos. I basically took and this is just my own ballparking based on what I saw. I made a half a pot of coffee, fairly strong, and then I poured an entire can of sweetened condensed milk into it. I mixed it up, and it's really sweet in a good way. I put a little bit of salt in it also, because salt enhances the sweetness and the flavor. And I stirred it up really good and let it get down to room temperature. Put it in the fridge, let it get a little cooler. Prepared a large 9x13 Pyrex dish. I had to display so much in my freezer to make room for it. I got everything off, and I had it on the top shelf with bags of ice underneath it on the shelf below, like stacked on top of vegetables and stuff. Anyway, so I had the pan already cold, and the coffee, the sweetened coffee was already chilled. So I poured it all in there, left it alone for a while, scraped it once, and it freezes around the edges first. So what you do is you kind of scrape all the edges and bring it to a mound in the middle and throw it back in there, and just let those edges keep freezing. So the second time I scraped it, it was like pretty much all ice crystals, and scraped it all. So this time I'm going to let it do an overnight. I might scrape it one last time before I go to bed, and then really let it freeze hard, and then figure out if there's a way I can put it in some sort of container or Tupperware thing and see how well it keeps over a few days. Because what I would like to do is I would like to make 3 or 4 flavors. Definitely the coffee, but it would be kind of neat to do like the flags of Italy, the Italian color. So maybe do a pistachio or a mint, and then some sort of, well, we're probably not going to do strawberry because there's a hepatitis A scare out there with some strawberries. So I don't want to do anything like that. I might do some pomegranate juice. Pomegranates are Italian. They're Mediterranean, and I could certainly sweeten that. And there's, the Palm brand is very nice. So I think I could get that, and would love to do a test run of Granita with that, because I absolutely love it. And then I know it's safe. It's already been pasteurized. I don't have to think about it. And then I also want to do the Trader Joe's orange juice. So maybe forget the Italian flag, but do the coffee, the orange, and the pomegranate. I think those would be great selections. And so if people come up to the porch and say, hey, we're here to visit for the porch hop, then I could get a scoop and just scoop it out and serve it in like a little Dixie cup type deal or something. So, and then give them a little baby spoon and they can eat that. And then I want to do some little antipasto skewers. So the little mozzarella balls, there's all sorts of recipes. There's like a gazillion recipes out there. So I could do some that are like more vegetarian, some that are vegan, some that are not either of those. With maybe some cotto salami. I don't think I can afford prosciutto. That's a little pricey, but I think I can do a few things within the ballpark. And we were told to expect between 30 and 70 people, depending on how you promote your porch. And these are all things that I would happily eat as leftovers if nobody showed up. So I don't see any risk at all. I will either cry because there was none left, or I will be eating lovely snacks like through the rest of the weekend and into the next week. Thought about a couple of activities. I need to dig through my stash of fabric and find a piece of canvas. And you know how they have those displays where you have this board, this piece of plywood or whatever that's painted, and there's a hole cut out, and you stick your face in the hole, and it's like, this bodybuilder or whatever. But do a pizza one, maybe do one where the chef is tossing the pizza. And thank you to Lon for thinking of this, but like they're throwing the pizza in the air and have make it be like a really short chef. And so there's a face for the chef head, but then there's also a face hole for the dough. So somebody could be a pizza head or a dough head, whatever. And so something like that, where it's like a selfie booth. So we're thinking of like a fun Italian selfie booth. And that would take some painting. Ideally, it would be this week. So I think that I have to still do my 3 job hunts. And I need to get the lawn guy out so my yard is not like creepy when the event comes. Because we just have some rain. But yeah, so I actually have something fun to look forward to. Despite everything else that's keeping me busy, it's, with the pandemic, the past 2 years, haven't had any parties or friends over. I used to do St. Patty's Day parties or gaming days. And, I really miss being able to do that. And, that was usually my motivation for really doing good house cleaning. Was if I knew people was coming over, I would tear through this house, because I had a very goal-oriented decluttering reason. So working at home for 2 years has not been conducive to that. And so I think I'm trying to create situations where I am forced to do some work on the house. Now this, because it's not on my porch, takes that pressure off. So, but it does give me a chance to go through and dig out some of my art supplies and, do some painting, which would be really nice. So I'm looking forward to that. So let me see if I have all my notes here. Talked about the interviews. I talked about the upcoming interview. I've talked about cooking from home to save money. The amount of books displaced. I did get a grant for a CompTIA plus fundamentals class that I'm looking forward to taking. I think that gets processed on the 1st of the month, and the class starts on the 14th of June. So I am looking forward to that, because my career goals are a 3-pronged approach. I either want to go into executive secretary level, or I want to go into IT computer programming. And what was the third thing? How come I can't think of the third thing? I'm losing my mind. Continue my foreign language studies. So the foreign language studies are something that I need other people to talk with to be able to do that. So that's kind of limited. I can self-study. I can watch Netflix movies in Italian or French, whatever it is I want to study, or Spanish. Um, I've got tons of books and readers, but at a certain point, I think uh, I need to carve out time and fill time with that and have, at least an hour or two a day that I'm focusing on that. And if I'm focusing on other projects, okay, so when you're on unemployment and you have very little money coming in and you're trying to hold on to your savings, you end up doing a lot of things that take time but not money, and that's not to my advantage right now. I am like trying to take a online class, like a little enrichment micro learning class. I'm studying YouTube videos. I have so many books to read, and I have been cherry picking the ones that I want to read. I am There is a book on grant writing that I want to study, and grant writing is kind of like interviewing, but it's project based interviewing. Uh, it's like a business proposal. I uh, I can see the parallel skills you need that work for interviewing that would also apply to grant writing in the written format. So, improving my writing skills is something I want to do, and learn the basics of grant writing. I want to learn. Oh, I want to learn more about project management. I actually, depending on the situation, I would eventually like to have a business degree. I would like to maybe have a minor or certification in project management. I would like to have IT certification. I feel like that if I do anything IT or computer programming based, project management would be very important skill to have, because the nature of the beast is there's a lot of project-based items in that industry. That's just kind of the nature of things. If they're trying to develop something or roll something out or implement something, it's a project, and it has to be done in a way where everybody's on the same page, they have the same terminology, they understand what's going on. So I found a very good YouTube channel about that, and I've not had time to focus on that. I have been dealing with more immediate needs lately. So once I'm in a job, then I can microdose some of these other projects, and I'll have more money coming in that can do things like deal with all the yard work, or I can eat out more again, and I can use my money to save time, so that I save my brain to focus on the things that I truly want to work on and develop for myself. So there's kind of this seesaw that's happening between time and money with me right now, that I wouldn't say I'm struggling with. It's just the nature of the beast right now. So I expect once I get a job, a lot of that will change. My cash flow situation's really good. If I'm disciplined, I can coast on what I have coming in. And probably now that I've got the wardrobe thing done, I don't have to spend so much time doing that. But I do need to get out and do some walking to stretch my legs. I can't just sit at home all day. So that's my next struggle, is I was using that as an excuse to get out, but now I probably need to go to the park or something a little more healthy, away from food, away from shopping, and find some sort of healthy activity that's moderate, so that I don't pull a muscle or whatever. And I made the mistake of not having water. So we're going to wrap this up, because the air in here is dry, thankfully, and my throat is parched. So I am waiting to hear back on the final candidate position. I am looking forward to the interview at the other department, and I'm trying to keep my job pipeline filled because none of this is guaranteed. So I really still don't know where I'm going to land, and where I land affects my life going forward for the next, however long I'm with that job. So we'll see, and we'll keep you posted. I appreciate you sticking with me on this, and I know there's probably something I'll forget. I'll just make notes for the next time. Bye. Have a good day.